right, guys. Welcome back. Dropping the Needle, episode 11/12, motherfuckers. Me and Adam decided that we've been trying to talk about when we're going to do Radiohead as a thing. And it just so happens that we said Radiohead's first, what did we say, Adam? 5 albums it's one thing. So we've decided that we're going to do the Kid A Mnesia 2-parter. We're going to split it at some point and then, keep going, whatever. And then you can check it out in June. But for May 2022, this is part 1 of the Kid A Mnesia episode of Dropping the Needle. So Adam, do you have any initial thoughts? Because we're going to talk about Radiohead from Pablo Honey to all the way up until In Rainbows in this particular span of 2 episodes. Do you have any thoughts right now?
I mean, yeah, but it's where do you start?
Yeah.
It's like the biggest thing about Radiohead is the progression and how they've always each, if you think about it, decades now have not necessarily reinvented themselves, but progressed to a point where you could call it almost the reinventing of themselves, but they just progress with what's happening and kind of on the forefront of what's happening. Tom Yorke's always been good at trying to find new styles of music to be inspired by. And then Johnny Greenwood, his career's taken off in doing scores for movies and films, so
yeah,
it's been interesting to watch too.
All right, before I ask you my next question, girl, here's my next question. What are you sipping on, my dude?
Oh, that Juicifer, that classic. Always
the Juicifer. Who makes that Juicifer? Let's remind the crowd.
Gnarly Barley.
That Gnarly Barley. Yes, go
Let's
ahead.
Talk about that artwork.
Oh, look at that little guy, little lickety split on there.
Oh, hell.
So, oh shit, that's nice. So, I don't know if you saw, but I got this big boy.
Nice. Is that Bearded Iris?
No, this is a tenfold brewing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, tenfold brewing. Howling Winds Scottish Ale. It's a 5.6. Yeah, 5.6. And as you can see, this is a crowler. And I plan on drinking this whole crowler during this episode or these episodes. So this was a few weekends ago. Your girl Brittany Fernandez and the good homie Kenny from Anyone Could Die. And me and Meg went to dinner at Tenfold. Tenfold has a bunch of good food. It's a local natural brewery located I don't know, northeast, I guess you could call it. Nashville. This shit is, I know you can't see it. I'm not going to tilt it because it'll spill. But when you crack something and it's on the edge of the can. Ooh, that's nice. What this is right now. It's full as fuck. So we went and had dinner, and they make good pizzas and good apps and shit, and
nice.
And they have their brewery on site. So I have liked them. Oh, almost fucked up. I've liked them for a while, and oh shit. Oh no,
pour seemed heavy, bro.
I know. Okay. Oh my god.
Damn, that's dark. And mostly foam.
God damn it, I'm fucking up. For all you video watchers, I just fucked up pretty bad. All right, yeah. It's a Scottish Ale, 5.6. It's nice. I had it when I was there, and I was like, I get one of these to go. But yeah, that shit, that's darkness, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I got this, I don't know if you can see. You might not be able to see. You might be able to when it gets darker. But this artist engraved big ass mug. You got this as a present, so shout out to the in-laws for this joint. Pretty cool present.
Nice.
Um, anyways, my initial thoughts on Radiohead. So Radiohead, I feel like I got into in high school, but like most people probably do, if they're going to get into them or if they're going to hate them. It's usually that time when that starts. So I think my initial thoughts on Radiohead were definitely from, hearing Creep on the radio.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is a cool song. Probably didn't know who it was at the time.
Yeah.
And then, you hear that for a long time and you're like, okay, cool. Eventually someone in high school is like, hey, you should listen to this album. And it's definitely not Pablo Honey what they give you. It's usually something else. And
Yeah.
this time I guess I was probably skating a lot. So a lot of this shit was used in like random edits that you'd see people rocking. A lot of people fucking hated Radiohead. I'm pretty sure, I can't remember which song it was, but Jason Dill of, I guess plenty of people know Jason Dill is, but he runs a skateboard company called Fucking Awesome now. And he used a Radiohead song in one of his video parts back in the day. And it was a big deal because people were like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool. I think that kind of sparked people listening to Radiohead in the skateboard community. But at the same time, I got into a whole bunch of like British shit at this time. So it kind of just fell into my lap. And then when you were listening to them pretty heavy rotation, then I was like, all right, like what the fuck is this? I should check this out. And ended up it was it was basically you being like, hey, we should go to Bonnaroo and see Radiohead. I was like,
I
okay,
never really was. I mean, I liked Radiohead at that point, but I don't think I really like wanted to go to Bonnaroo for Radiohead. I think it's like it was more so I just wanted to go to Bonnaroo because of all the other bands and stuff.
But it's 2006. I remember your heavy rotation 2006 was a lot of My Morning Jacket.
Yeah.
Heavy on the My Morning Jacket.
And the thing is, it's like seeing that's what I was gonna say though. Like seeing Radiohead is what I was like, damn, this band is like I've been sleeping on this band.
Yeah.
Because like I was kind of like not the biggest fan either. And I was like, especially like when like you said, like when it was like Creep and it was like, okay, and especially Creep. Creep is one of those songs that's like you can definitely tell they released that to fit in with all the other bands like Oasis and the Verve and like definitely that style.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. It's like that was one of those songs like, they didn't play it a lot they didn't even play it when we saw them, but like it was one of those songs that like they put on the album so they could get on the radio, because at that time you needed to be on the radio to make money.
To break out hit.
So so I guess that early 2000s was probably when I was getting into it. And then our drive to Bonnaroo kind of made me a fan, I think, after seeing that show. But we're going to talk about Bonnaroo in part 2 of this episode. So fast bang. I don't know, wait a month if you want to hear that shit. So anyways, we're going to talk about Pablo Honey, The Bends, and then OK Computer, Kid A, Amnesia, Hail to the Thief, and then end it within Rainbows, Bonnaroo, and then what is now KidAMnesia. So I don't know, like Pablo Honey comes out in 96, I want to say 93. Wow, fuck me, in the UK. 93. That's insane. 90, it's triple platinum in 2013 in the US. So that's fucking crazy. Or certified platinum in 95, my bad. That's insane. But anyways, it comes out in 93. That's in like still in the middle of grunge, kind of. Like grunge is like winding down. I remember like people like Guns N' Roses are still around, like doing hot business at this time. So it's like this shit comes out, this like British band, they put out fucking Creep as their single, and it blows up. Creep is like this huge thing. People have covered it all over the place. There's like weird covers. Fucking Beck covered it when we saw him. Yeah, it's a weird song. And it's kind of
sketchy.
Kind of sketchy. I was gonna say creepy.
It's creepy and catchy, yeah.
But yeah, so there's that. I don't know. Do you have any? I've got to say, Pablo Honey, out of all their albums, literally all of them, is my least listened to one.
Yeah, I would say that for sure.
It's like, I don't know. I don't really have too many thoughts on it because I don't know these songs like I know the other ones that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, but do you have any thoughts on it, or any like anything that has like, you've heard or seen that's like, oh man, like this is Pablo Honey's the fucking shit. And like there are people like Pablo Honey apologize.
Yeah, I mean,
but like,
well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I feel like, yeah, the how it goes is that if you're a fan of this album, it's like you're probably older. You know what I mean? You're probably like in your 50s. You know what I mean? Like you're an older true Radiohead fan, whereas like, somebody that's, even younger than us, like let's say 25, as a Radiohead fan, is going to be more of a fan of like OK Computer, and and even I would say even the more recent, the Moonshaped Pool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. So in '96, Johnny Greenwood said that he'd give this album a 7 out of 10. Not bad for an album recorded in just 2.5 weeks.
Oh damn.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's kind of funny that he wouldn't even give it a 10. Like,
yeah.
Fucking Johnny Greenwood. Like,
yeah. I mean, I guess if you ask now, especially if you look at like his career and all the stuff that he's done, over the decades, especially like I said, now getting into scoring films, and ultimately like that's like composer status.
Yeah
it's like definitely. I'm sure he probably thinks more highly of his talent than what he fucking did in '93.
yeah it's kind of there's a reissue of this too, just so we can talk about it for a second. August 31st 2009, EMI reissued Pablo Honey in a collector's edition with the drill EP tracks and B-sides and alternative takes. They had Radiohead had no input on it on the reissue and did not remaster it themselves. So it's kind of interesting. In February 2013, Parlophone, who does that, was bought by Warner Music Group. And April 2016, result of agreement with Table, True Grape, Impala, Warner transferred Radiohead's back catalog to XL Recordings. The collector's editions of Radiohead albums issued without Radiohead's approval were removed from streaming services. So you can't even see. You can't even. This is the funniest thing about Radiohead to me. It's like they have all these weird like songs they'll play on tour or like only live and shit. And like sometimes, and we're gonna talk about these later on, but they were all like released at some point, But they're in these weird obscure like collections and shit.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Last thing about them is that I feel like they're always creating music, even when they say they're not, or you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and when they do go record an album, there is a lot of like stuff that doesn't make the album because they're, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It says finishing that out, May 2016, XL reissued Radiohead's back catalog on vinyl, including Pablo Honey. So my closing thoughts on this are on Pablo Honey in general, because we're going to go quick through these albums. I like that they're playing Creep again live. I think it's cool. Yeah, I think they, if you have like this song, like that people love and people really want you to fucking play it, and like even when we saw them, like the people were just yelling, "Play Creep!" Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, shut the fuck up. They're not gonna play it. Also, Beck's version that day was probably better anyway. But it's one of those things, like, just give into it, man. It's like if you were going to see, Coldplay and they didn't play Clocks, you'd be pissed, you know?
Mhm.
Like, that's the song you want to hear, you know? Or any other huge band and their hit, you know?
Yeah.
But anyways, any closing thoughts on Pablo Honey?
Not really.
All right. Fuck it then. Moving on to the Bends, album 2. This is all leading up to a crescendo of something. So 2 years later, March '95, Radiohead releases The Bends, which I gotta say is an album I've listened to more recently, like, and like more, I say, like, more times recently than I did when I was into this, like, into Radiohead hardcore. I think you're frozen, Adam. I think Adam's frozen, so he can chime back in when he's ready. But basically, my thoughts on the Bends are, I really like the song The Bends, High and Dry, Fake Plastic Trees, My Iron Lungs good, and Street Spirit Fade Out is incredible. And Adam's left. Adam has left the fucking episode. Maybe his internet went out or something. So I am going to pause this recording. No, fuck it. I'm just gonna keep going. I don't even care. Oh, Adam's calling. Hey, what's up? I don't know. Can you sign back into the show? All right, cool. That's weird. Okay. I'm still recording. I'm just talking to myself now. All right, bye. So anyways, I mean, we'll talk more about it in a second, but I'm gonna pour it. While we're waiting for Adam, I'm gonna pour the rest of this beer. Like I said, big shout out to Tenfold Brewing Company. I like their beer. They're really close to me, so I appreciate a brewery being close to my house. Very cool. There he is.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can. I was
right.
just pouring the rest of this beer. It's as big as my
Nice.
fucking head.
I don't know what happened. Zoom's messing up, dude.
This whole episode's cursed. Microphone's being weird. I don't know. So anyways, Adam, I was giving my initial thoughts on the Bends. My initial thoughts were, to reiterate for you for a second, I think this album has great music. It has the Bends, High and Dry, Fake Plastic Trees, My Iron Lung, Street Spirit Fade Out, which is one of my favorite Radiohead songs.
Yeah.
And I think it's top notch. This also went through that same situation we were talking about with reissues, with all of those people buying each other. So you can find it on vinyl in 2016. Go for it. But I don't know. You got any thoughts on the Bends?
Yeah, dude. I mean, the song "The Bends" itself, self-titled song, is pretty awesome. I would say that's one of my top Radiohead songs for sure.
Okay.
And Fake Plastic Trees.
Yeah.
I mean, out of the 90s era of Radiohead, the 90s era of Radiohead, that the Bends is the better album for sure.
Okay. Because the 90s, because I
And it
think
set them up too for like what was to come, like, decades later, I feel like.
yeah. I mean, well, our the ones that we're going to talk about a lot, OK Computer and Kid A, they were both, well, Kid A was released in 2000. OK Computer was 97.
Yeah.
Would you put the Benz over OK Computer, or where you falling on
I
that? You
mean,
think?
I mean, it's like hard to say. Like, let me see. Like,
Because like OK Computer, I don't want
I
to get
think so.
too
I don't know.
into
I
it.
think so, dude. I think so.
Okay, this is so the reason we're doing this episode is because this this is when I feel like the start of what I'm going to call like a super album starts for them. Because like from the Bends all the way into Hail to the Thief, it's kind of one thing, and it's weird. It's like it's a very weird thing, and like we're going to talk about it a little bit more in a minute. But like it starts to be the same album for a very long time, and then you get In Rainbows eventually. It kind of breaks the cycle.
Yeah.
But these four albums that we're about to talk about, or five albums, are kind of, I think this is where the Bends kind of starts that mythos or whatever. Because like when we are, so for people who don't know, in the early 2000s, there was a big theory that Radiohead had this like kind of giant uh, collection of songs that they would just like kind of piece together into albums, and then in some way, if you took different ones and lined them up after each other, it would actually be a cohesive, long ass album. And it was like this big theory for a long time. And if you do it, if you find the right playlist, it actually works. And eventually, we're going to talk about this with KidAMnesia, but and because that's what they did, it was real after all. Surprise. But yeah, it was this big theory that, and like no one would fucking confirm this, but there's this big theory that they had all these songs and they just kept making music, and then they just like pick songs and put them on albums to where they thought they might fit. So
Yeah.
I think the Bends is where this kind of starts. Like I think this is the start of this era. I want to say, you know,
Yeah.
you think you agree?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Do you remember this, by the way? Like people just online talking about like if you put this
Yeah.
song next to this
Yeah, I
song.
do. I do. I mean, there's been all kinds of theories, and that's what's been like interesting about him too, is that like the cult following and all the conspiracies and all the people with their Radiohead tattoos.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's fun to watch, but it's like I mean, I'm definitely not into it enough to get tattooed, but
No, no, I'm not gonna get a paranoid android tattoo or whatever. Not gonna do
but
it. Um,
but yeah, but it has been interesting. That's what I was going to say, is that they're experimental, and like it's like it's kind of like I don't know how to really explain it, but like I guess the timeline too, they know that like oh, we made this song in 97 that can now be relevant today in 2005 or what, whatever it is, or even 2022.
yeah,
I mean, this stuff is kind of timeless. It's not like, it's like, like I said, like you said, in 95, when all these grunge bands were still around or kind of starting to phase out, like they were like doing something completely different and more electronic and, inspired by different genres of music.
yeah. You got to keep in
But
mind, this is still the same. This is around the same time that people like Daft Punk are getting really big,
yeah,
and so like you're taking influences from a lot of different stuff. House music,
yeah,
90s raves were a thing.
yeah,
Um, so all of this is like congealing into what eventually is going to be KidAMnesia, but 30 years later. But um, yeah, moving on. I think the Bends. I don't have like too much to talk about the Bends, but because again, it's another album that I didn't listen to too much.
yeah,
But you can, uh, it's an album that, I mean, even if you just look it up, Johnny Greenwood said it's a turning point for Radiohead. So like we were just saying, it's when this super album started.
Yeah.
And it was in people's like best years lists and whatever. And it in 2015, Selway, who is part of is Philip Selway, the drummer, said that this is the origin of Radiohead's aesthetic. So
makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense to me as well. And it's if you listen, so that's why people, I think we were just talking about Pablo Honey is kind of like this one-off thing that kind of got them on a trajectory, right? And then you get the Bends, where this is the start of what is going to be the next 15 years of what this band is. So moving on. The Bends. All right. So you want to, give your top 2 songs on this album real quick.
On the Bends?
Yeah.
The Bends.
Okay.
And then let me look again.
Mine is Street Spirit Fade Out and probably the Bends.
Okay.
I think it's the Bend. I think the song The Bends is the one that Jason Dill skates to. I can't remember though. Anyway, moving on. Album 3, OK Computer. Okay. This one. All right. So this is where we're going to cut off after this album and then talk about Kid A and then Amnesia, Amnesiac, and then Hail the Thief pretty quick. No, we'll cut off after Kid A and then Amnesiac and Hail the Thief and In Rainbows. We'll talk about in a minute. But anyway, this and Kid A I'm going to say are defining albums for my taste in music, I think. That's kind of heavy to say, but I'm gonna say that is heavy. That's pretty fucked. I'm gonna say
that's a bold statement.
That's bold. That's a hot take, bro. No, I'm gonna say this is these are one of those, like, those 2 albums were in heavy rotation in my CD player. Going to work, going to school, fucking hanging out when we were working together in fast food and other restaurant bullshit. The latter half of high school into college and today, these are top of the list type of shit for me personally. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like, I don't know, like, I mean, these albums are good and it's the defying Radiohead, but like, I know a lot of people, it's probably blasphemy to say this, but like, I like the later Radiohead stuff, like, and I know we haven't got into it yet, but like In Rainbows and even A Moon-Shaped Pool, like, I mean, that's actually, hot take, the only vinyl album I have of Radiohead.
love a hot take, motherfuckers. Okay.
But yeah, Moon-Shaped Pool, super underrated. I don't care what anybody says.
You know, I have warmed up to that album a lot. I haven't really cared for the latter Radiohead stuff in a while.
Yeah.
And like those particular ones have kind of like Moon-Shaped Pool in particular. King of Limbs still doesn't hit for me really. But
but I don't know, like that's what I was going to get into too. I know we're like, this is like going to go on forever if we get into all the other stuff.
Well,
but
we'll
like,
stop it.
Do it. But yeah, it's like, but even that I like, even King Limbs I like though. That's what I was gonna say. That's the later stuff I like. Is like because he was getting more into like the electronic stuff, like doing even like the stuff that he was like doing, like live shows with like Flying Lotus and stuff, like DJ sets. It's like love that.
That's cool. That's cool. But we can get into that once we talk about In Rainbows, because that's the second turning point for Radiohead.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's the starting point for all that, I think.
Yeah. So and there's a reason. it's kind of interesting. But OK Computer, I think this and Kid A, and we're gonna talk about it individually, but I think this and Kid A are front to back. You can listen to them straight.
Yeah.
It's all great. Standouts for me personally are Exit Music for a Film and probably No Surprises. And yeah, I mean, there's obviously there's Karma Police on this, which was a hit. Paranoid Android, I think, was a single.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a very, I mean, it's a very highly score, like highly reviewed score. High. My brain just broke, bro.
I was like, huh?
It scored very highly on reviews across the board. 5 stars from fucking Rolling Stone and Pitchfork, 10 out of 10s. Which is, if you can get a thing that's 5 out of 5 on on Rolling Stone and then a 10 out of 10 on Pitchfork, those are two completely different crowds. Like,
yeah.
So good for them. A bunch of other sites. This is probably their best reviewed album, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say that too.
Oh, this is funny. There's a quote from DJ Shadow for this. A lot of people have taken OK Computer and said, this is the yardstick. If I can attain something half as good, I'm doing pretty well. But I've never heard anything really derivative of OK Computer, which is interesting as it shows that what Radiohead were doing was probably even more complicated than it seemed. Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I agree. After watching quite a few live concerts just as background noise for work or whatever, this particular songs off of this album seem hard as shit to play live, and they do it. Lots of beats very, and boops complex, and whatever. Yeah. But I don't know. What do you think highlights for you for this, or do you have any thoughts on it?
I mean, it's like I said, it's definitely one of the better albums from favorite for me, but it's still but yeah, like you said, Exit Music for a Film and Karma Police I think are the standouts, and Paranoid Android. I don't know, it's like I don't know if that was a single, but I feel like that, like I said, that's a song that the cult following that had that made that song stand out.
Yeah. So this is also a point in time when they were very, very big. Okay. So in this particular album, when they were going on tour for it, they ended up doing single. A Paranoid Android was the lead single. Cool.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I said it was this one, right? I don't know. I'm fucking backing up, dude. I don't know. This beer is hitting pretty good. But oh my god, I'm looking. Oh, one sec, everyone, one sec. Tour. No, it wasn't this. It was OK Computer. Tour. Okay, so what we were talking about with the Ben started this whole Radiohead aesthetic, right? OK Computer is like the establishing point of that. The Bens are kind of like, they kind of beat around what they're gonna do. OK Computer's the start. They were fucking huge at this point, and they get asked to headline Glastonbury in June 28th, 97. This freaked Thom Yorke out real bad. Okay, he freaked the fuck out. And they had a bunch of technical problems on stage. Thom almost walked off. He was almost like stressing so hard he left. Performance was great though, cemented Radiohead as a major live act. Rolling Stone described it as an absolute triumph. And in 2004, Q, which I think is a magazine, yeah, it was a magazine in the UK, called it the greatest concert of all time. Okay. But anyway.
Whole statement.
So this particular show and their fame is leading us into what is Kid A. So they take a couple years. Remember, this is 2007 or 97 when this is released, when OK Computer's released. Take a couple years to make what is Kid A, right? This is October 2nd, 2000. It's recorded in 99 through April 2000. So it took a few months to do it, 4 months, right?
Yeah.
And I think, well, I know this is a fact, but so this kind of like, this is also a continuation. We're still talking about this Radiohead aesthetic, right? This is a continuation of what OK Computer is, and we're going to talk about OK Computer, Kid A, and Amnesiac almost as one thing in the next few hits of this show. But anyways, when that whole thing went down in Glastonbury, Thom Yorke, and this is very public knowledge, but he freaked the fuck out when he had to record there. And when they were doing that show, they recorded it obviously. But he freaked out and like had almost a breakdown, and his really was like having like a holy shit moment, we're fucking famous type of situation going on. And there is a song on this album which I think, and has been said by multiple members of Radiohead, is their best song ever. And which is How to Disappear Completely.
Yeah,
Track
that's what
4.
I was gonna say.
So that song is about Thom and basically describing how stressed the fuck out he was at Glastonbury and how he just wanted to float away and get the fuck out of there because it was, scary and stressed out and whatever. But this is the album, dude. Like I don't know how you feel about it, but this is the one. Like this shit stayed in my CD player a hard minute. Do you have any initial thoughts on it?
No, just that, like you said, like How to Disappear Completely is definitely the better, like the best song from the album. And that, like I think that's a defining album for him, like, for like again for that, decade of the 2000s.
Yeah. Kid A, Pitchfork and the Times ranked Kid A the greatest album of the 2000s, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
2006, Time Kid A, one of the 100 best albums, calling it the opposite of easy listening and the weirdest album to ever sell 1 million copies, but also a testament to just how complicated pop music can be.
Yeah.
Rolling Stone, Pitchfork, and the Times ranked it as the greatest album in 2000s. It's man. In 2011, Rolling Stone named Everything in Its Right Place the 24th best song in the 2000s, describing it as oddness at its most hummable.
Yeah, that's crazy. This is what I was going to say too, is that, the fact that it is so weird, it gave, it kind of opened the door for everybody else, all these other bands, like especially noise pop and these different bands, like indie bands from, the like mid 2000s to now, like, just to be weird and experiment with different electronic, instruments.
Yeah, absolutely. This, Let's do up. All right, great. In 2020, this was Rolling Stone's number 20, 500 greatest albums of all time. And there's a bunch of, they do a bunch of weird rankings, but that one's pretty notable. Number 20, that's pretty insane.
Yeah.
Been reissued a bunch of times. That same thing with the 2016 XL reissue. There's other weird versions of this album you can check out. 2017, there's an OK Computer reissue called OK Not OK. And it was basically 97 and 2017. They released, this whole, it's like an early demo type of version type of thing. But this is, this album, I don't know why, but this one has always stayed with me. Like, this one is probably I don't know, I don't want to say it's my favorite, but it's like, it's really up there as far as Radiohead albums go for me.
Yeah.
Do you feel a certain way about it, or what do you think?
No, I mean, it's like, for me, it's like, like us being introduced to Radiohead, like that's definitely the first album you like listen to. But it just felt like it's, for me, it's like the stepping stones. It's not necessarily like my top album of theirs.
Yeah,
I think that and especially like only seeing them once, which I know we'll get into later, but like that's definitely submits in Rainbows as my favorite album.
Okay. Yeah, this one, if you haven't gone check this one out, go and check it out. Like we said earlier, How to Disappear Completely, National Anthem, Everything in Its Right Place, Optimistic, Idiotech.
Yeah.
These are all motion picture soundtrack. Yeah. All highlights. It's a great album.
I will say I do like National Anthem though. That is a really good, solid track from this.
Yeah. Also, if you're, collecting vintage skate videos, National Anthem, Tony Hawk skated to National Anthem in the audio video, One Step Beyond, in 2003. I don't know.
Supposedly it's his birthday today, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Saw it somewhere.
Shout out my boy T Hawk, you know what I'm saying? All right, so we've established this whole like timeline, right?
Yeah.
Now I think time to say goodbye for part one, and we'll come back part two it. See you in fucking June. Yep. And yeah, it's been your boys. Hope you liked this episode. If you did, go ahead and check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. Subscribe to all the places you like for all the updates that we do. And yeah, check us out in June if you like this episode for part two.